Your iPhone 17 Pro Max can shoot stunning photos and videos with its triple 48 megapixel cameras. It's so good, even the professionals are using it. Here are the best settings and tips and tricks, so you can also take pro level shots in minutes. Let's go straight to business by opening settings, then scroll down, open camera. The first picture settings that you'll see is photographic styles, but it's always recommended to keep it to standard so that you can edit it yourself if needed. Then below that is record video format. Inside here, if you want the best quality and file size, then 4K at 60 FPS is enough. But if you want the cinematic vibe, then always stick to 4K at 24 FPS. Then your videos will look like you're watching a Hollywood movie. Now let's go down and you'll get a bunch of toggles from where you'll need to turn on enhanced stabilization. The action mode lower light is better left turned off if you don't plan on recording in low light. Then you have HDR videos, and this is an absolute game changer, so definitely turn it on. Then the auto FPS, and similarly, if you're not crazy about low light videos, just turn it off. Lock camera should also be enabled, so that you can switch the cameras when needed by yourself. The lock white balance can be kept turned off. Now let's go back. Go to record slow-mo, and from here, either choose 240 FPS for the best slow-mo quality, and if you want to prioritize resolution, select 4K at 120 FPS. Now, record cinematic. Here, just like before, select 4K at 24 FPS, which is what cinemas will use. Now we have the record sound option. Here, either choose spatial audio, if you want to capture ambient sounds, for example, nature videos, but if you want to focus on speech, then mono is what you'll need. Then you have the allow audio playback feature, which totally depends on your use case. After that, we have one of the most important options, which is formats. Here, if you want to preserve space and also want more options to edit your photos after you take the shot, then stick to high efficiency. But if you want to prioritize sharing it with some other operating systems, in that case you can switch to most compatible, but high efficiency is always recommended. On the photo mode, it's a no-brainer that you select 24 megapixels. Right below that, you'll have Pro RAW and resolution control, which you should definitely turn on. This will unlock your camera's full potential by allowing you to switch to 48 megapixels. Then you can further change the Pro RAW format. And here what you should choose is JPEG XL Lossy. And inside here, you may be tempted to use the lossless format, but this takes up a lot more storage without having any significant difference in picture quality. So JPEG XL Lossy is what you should choose. And at the bottom we can enable the Apple ProRes video capture format. This will allow you to use the HDR ProRes encoding or even log. So if you are a pro at color grading, log is the option that you are looking for. But for any regular use case, HDR is more than enough. Right below formats, we have the preserve settings option. Let's open it. And the settings you definitely want to enable is creative controls, exposure adjustment, night mode, ProRAW resolution controls, and Apple ProRes. What this will do is prevent your camera to revert the changes that we'll make in this video. Now what you want to keep turned off is the live photo toggle, because this generates low quality photos and takes up more space. The other options you should let revert back to default. Below preserve settings, you have the volume up for burst option, and enabling this will disable the default function, which is volume up for record videos. You also have the QR code and text detection option, which is handy so you can just keep them turned on. Next up, we have the composition guides, grid lines and levels. This will help you line up your shots, so definitely give them a try. The third option is mirror front camera. You should just keep it disabled and get used to it. If you keep it enabled, this will flip everything. So just disable this option and get used to it. Then view outside the frame. This will show you what's around the main frame and is totally a matter of personal preference whether you want to keep it on or off. Then indicators. If you enable these, you'll be able to easily toggle these on or off inside the camera app. Now we'll move to photo capture. Here make sure both these lenses are enabled and your default lens should be 24mm or 1x zoom. Below these we have portraits in photo mode, which is a yes. Prioritize faster shooting is always a no, cause this will degrade your image quality, which we absolutely don't want. Lens correction can reduce warping or distortions in wide angle, so enable this. Macro control, this should always be disabled unless you want to take macro photos. Then we have a new feature called lens cleaning hints, and you can just leave this on. And lastly, you can choose if you want to save photos taken in other apps to your library. Now that we're done with the camera settings, let's open the camera app itself. And in the photo mode, you can change the resolution to 48 megapixels and then format to either HEIC or RAW. For regular use case, HEIC is enough. We also enabled the exposure value shortcut. You can tap on it, bring down the exposure to 0.3 or 0.7 for more natural lighting, and this will be persistent, so you won't have to use the sundial anymore and it won't reset. We also have the flash and live mode toggle, both of which should be kept turned off, and if you click on these more dots, here you also get the exposure option. But what's important is the aspect ratio, and you should always keep it to 4:3 as it gives you the most photo information. And talking about zoom, you can tap on the 1x zoom to switch between your 3 lenses. And then you also have the digital 2x zoom, 4x, and 8x zoom. And for the best photo quality, you should stick to all these presets and avoid using any zoom levels between them. For the front camera, there's also the center stage feature, which you can enable by tapping on the top and then turning auto zoom and auto rotate on. Or you can also keep it turned off and manually switch it by pressing on this icon. And you should note that when you use the wide angle or landscape mode, the photo is saved in 18 megapixels, but in the portrait, it's only 7 megapixels. So you can just stick to the wide angle and crop your photo if needed afterwards. Now let's move to videos. And as we're using Apple ProRes, you can switch to HDR and log format. And just like before for normal shooting, HDR is more than enough, or you can also keep it turned off to preserve storage. And on the top right, you also have the action mode toggle and the brand new dual capture feature, which enables you to capture both your front camera and the main cameras at the same time. And what we almost missed is the night mode. These settings will only pop up when there's low light, and you can either toggle it from the top or open the more options and enable night mode max from here, which will give you up to 30 seconds of night mode capture in extreme low light. And in iOS 26, to move to other photo modes, you can either swipe left or right on the screen or use the bottom bar. You can also make use of the camera control button to do stuff like changing the zoom or double half pressing, then selecting camera option, depth, zoom, or the exposure, and change these settings without needing to touch the screen. You can further customize the camera control button by going back to the camera settings and then selecting camera control. And that's it. Now you're ready to start taking photos or videos and judge the difference by yourself. Let us know your feedback. Stay tuned for more.